Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the difference between living in the mind, in the self-created psychological reality of our mind, versus living in the present moment, which is where true life is happening. In order to help you a little bit, let me talk about myself, because many years back I was really caught up completely in my thought process. I was constantly thinking and identified with negative beliefs that I had about myself at that time, beliefs of not being deserving or worthy or good enough, whatever. And those beliefs and my believing in them was turning into negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts were turning into negative emotions like fear, depressions, anxiety. And this turned out to be a cycle that it was very difficult for me to break. Like I had become a kind of functioning entity. I was just working, busy, always on the go, and this caused my mind to take over me. Like I found myself constantly thinking about life, constantly checking about my emotions and why and how and so on. And instead of just being in the reality and living life, a reality which, by the way, was totally okay and very kind and very nice, but the reality within my mind was very ugly, very negative. Everything was negative. So it was a clear sign that my mind has turned against me. Why I'm telling you is just to explain you that these thoughts and negative thoughts, it is what kept humanity always in history, kept humanity trapped. We are actually trapped in our mind with the key in our hand, but we don't know how to use this key to get out of it. That's why I wanted to dedicate this podcast a little bit to the mind and how it works, so that we can understand how to switch from this living in the mind into living in the present moment, living and be rooted in existence. The mind, I have nothing against the mind. The mind, if we use it as our organs, like a hand or a foot, and we are able to tell it what we want it, and he execute what we tell it, then it's a great instrument. It's an instrument that needed millions of years of evolution to reach the greatness that it has reached nowadays. We can create technologies, we can create comfort, wealth for us. But unfortunately, we are not creating well-being because we are not using the mind, but the mind is turned against us. It's kind of taking over us. We are so identified in our thoughts that we believe them to be true. And of course, when we believe our thoughts to be true, we don't see the truth of the reality that is actually where we are in the present moment. And so when the mind turns against us, it is like we are not able anymore to control it. And it equals to a kind of disease. It's a mental disease, even because it's just a social accepted mental disease, because I don't know, maybe 70% of people lives with it. It doesn't mean that this is not a disease. It is a kind of addiction. I mean, thought addiction is an addiction like smoking, drug and alcohol is just an addiction to thought. And that's why I take it very seriously. And the first step to rewire what we have created in our mind or retake ownership on our mind, the first step is to become aware that the problem is there. So the first thing I would like you to do is just to become aware, if it is the case, of course, that your mind is ruling you, that your mind is not anymore your servant, but that you have become the prisoner of your mind. You are just always thinking. Okay, and it doesn't have to be necessarily negative thinking, only be always in the past or the future and never in the present, thinking about things. This is already enough. Like, to make it very easy for you to understand, if you are a kind of person like it was me many years back, and you are in a museum looking at a vernissage with the people you love, but instead of enjoying the vernissage, truly talking and enjoying your people, meeting new people and listening to what they have to say, instead of thinking already about what I'm going to answer. If you are facing issues like this, it is a clear sign that you're living in your mind. Living in the mind, it makes you just never be there where life is happening. You cannot be truly present with life, enjoy people, truly understand, learn, and because you are always half alive. Half life is in your mind, and half life is in the present moment. And apart from this, you're also losing very important life energy, because when you're thinking thoughts that are not necessary for your survival or for your thriving, then you are just wasting your life energy in thoughts that don't serve you, don't serve your happiness, and you don't need them. And if you think that you could use this life energy and put it into your work, your creative activities, or whatever you want, you could become in there very powerful and very balanced and very successful, because all this energy is not going to waste. Apart from this, a waste of life energy is a waste in physical well-being, right? So you could start nourishing diseases, stress, depression, and other kind of fatigue, a sense of fatigue and tiredness, because it's very, very tiring to live a life always inside the walls of your mind. So the good news is that in the same way we have created these thoughts, we can rewire them. We can take back ownership on our mind. And why I know it? Because I did it. So if I could do it, everybody can do it. This is why I'm talking about this in the podcast. So the first step is really to be aware. To be aware that you are in a thought addiction, that you are in this constant and continuous thought flows that brings you out of life. Like by eating bad food, you get diarrhea. The same thing happens to the mind. By nurturing and having negative thoughts and constant thoughts, you're just creating a thought diarrhea. So become aware of this, because awareness is always the first step. I already did a podcast about the importance of awareness. Please feel free to go. This is my previous one. Feel free to go and listen to it. Because awareness is always the first step. Only when I recognize I have something, I can make the next step to get out of it, to do something about it. It is like when you're drug addicted, first you have to know, okay, I just have to be sincere and understand I am drug addicted. I want to get out of it because I notice that it's ruining all my life. And then this is really the very first step towards health, towards you being on the right path to get healthy and to get out of something that keeps you limited and unhappy and unbalanced. It is very important that you understand that the mind is your organ, is something that you can tell it what you want it and when to think and when to stay quiet. And it has to follow it. By becoming aware, you become aware that you are thinking something that is not healthy for you, and by not giving attention to this thought. This is the key on how to do it. When I was on this thinking mood, I really was believing at my thoughts. I was giving them power. I was giving them attention. And when the thoughts created the emotions, like the emotion of anger or fear, I was believing it. I was fearing my fear, and I was really caught up with all this fog. And the very first thing that helped me a lot was really to create this distance, to look at what's happening in my mind. And when I was able with awareness to see, okay, this thought is coming again, you're not good enough, you will never make it, then I stopped giving attention. I started like treat it with humor. I started to say, okay, you are same thought, you came also yesterday, the day before, you're coming since years, you're not serving me, so just go away. I will not follow you this time. So, and the good thing is, negative thoughts will not come if they don't find the terrain, the attention, the entertainment from your side. Like they are like parasites. They only come when they find the right terrain. If you are not giving them attention or empowering them, they will not come, or they will come in a very, very soft way, or not anymore that powerful, and with the time, not at all. And this is a very good thing to do with thoughts, so that you eliminate them slowly, little by little. It is very important that you are aware that you are the creator of everything that you feel. If you feel misery and anger and fear, you are the creator. If you feel joy and you feel peace within yourself, you are the creator. You have the power to own your mind. You have the power to get out of it. You just need to believe it. You have to believe that you are a powerful being that can control and move your mind, your body, the way you want it. It's like you move your hands. When your hands are moving in a very uncontrolled way, you would notice and you would say, oh, I'm looking like a handicap. What am I doing with my hands? Let me move normally. So the same thing you do with your physical body, you can do with your mind. I assure you, you can do it. And once you create this space, that the awareness that you can watch at your monkey mind, you can watch at everything, all these thoughts and all this fog, then it's very easy to become owner of your mind again, to have ownership over your mind and get free of all these thoughts. So it is very, very important that we understand every time we are in thinking, we are not in true life, in real life. And the reality as it is in every present moment, it is so full of bounty. It is so full of beautiful people, beautiful situation, beautiful things that you can do and that you can enjoy, but only if you are present. If you're always in your mind, you will just miss it. And when you miss the present moment, you are actually missing life. And it is something when you will become older, then you will just regret it, because you will say, hey, I was such a fool. I was spending all my life wondering and thinking, if this is good, what do I do? Instead of doing, trying, living, give it a chance and so on. So all this is possible when you know you can get back ownership on your mind. This is the very big step. When you own your mind, it's very easy to create a chemistry of bliss, of joy into your body, and to just flow with life, being in the present moment, flow with life, and without fears, because the fears will not come anymore. They just come from your continuous thoughts. So I hope this has helped you a bit, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them, or if you need help, just reach out to my website. I thank you so much for listening, and I talk to you next time. Lots of love.